Good morning. Today we will continue to talk about the HL7. We know HL7 has version 2 and version 3. Today we will focus on version 2. As we know, HL7 is the standard for the exchange of healthcare data. It is a set of message-based transactions between healthcare applications. We know that there are several protocols and standards used for the applications in healthcare, include DICOM, PACS, also include HL7 and other several standards. HL7 is a standard. It is not an application. It is not a database specification or data structure. It is not an architecture for design health applications. It is not a specification for message router or gateway. We know in the computer network we have OSI communication architecture model. This model has 7 layers from the bottom to the top. They are physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and the 7th layer is application layer. The top 4 layers are function layer and the bottom layers are communication layer. In this layer, the 7th layer is majorly deal with application, because our HL7 specification is deal with application. That's why the 7 is come from. It comes from the 7th layers. So HL7 has long history. It is started in 1987. Till now, it already has 25 years. It has experienced different versions. Also, some versions are accredited by ANSI. Some it's not. So in these versions, the first usable version 2.1 published in 1990. Current version is 2.7. It was published in 2010. We know HL7 version 2, it supports message only. For the version 2.4, version 2.5, version 2.5.1, it supports lab test results. But version 2.6, version 2.7 deal with device communications. This graphic just show the history of HL7. We know the first meeting in the hospital of University of Pennsylvania. Then it has experienced different version change till 2010. The version 2.7 was published. This is the current version. Here we need to pay attention that for the version 3, it was first published in 2005. Okay? In fact, HL7 version 2 is the mostly widely used HL7 standard. If you will find that in the world, there are about 30 countries currently they are affiliated with HL7. So the current version 2.7 include 17 chapters. Also, it includes 4 appendixes. For these chapters, the most important chapter is chapter 2. Chapter 2 is defined the rules, data type, and the basic grammars for the construction of message. So this chapter is the basic to understand the other 16 chapters. So the control chapter of this HL Level 7 standards defines generic rules that apply for all messages, include trick events and acknowledgements, as well as message structure, construction rules, processing rules, segments, fields, delimiters, formatting, and batch protocol. So this is the key to read the rest of the specification. HL7.2, the chapter 2 is target for different entities. The first one is the global health care industry. The second is healthcare compute software vendors. The third is healthcare institutions. The fourth is payers. And the last one is target is national health information exchange infrastructures. We know message is an important concept. It's in HL7 version 2 because HL7 version 2 is major deal with the message. In fact, in HL7.2, a specific message is defined by the trigger. In fact, a trigger means a real-world event. HL7 defines the content of the message as an abstract of set of data elements contained in data segments. So from this figure, you will find that the communication between different systems is use HL7 message. So message is the first themes in HL7. How to define this kind of message, how to construct these messages is the task of the system based on the rules specifications defined by HL7. So how this message will be changed, when this message will be exchanged, when they will send the message from one system to other system. Okay, in fact, this is important things. All of this exchange transaction of this message are triggered by an event. This event we called trigger event. In fact, this trigger event is the real world event. For example, if there is some people is sick and the doctor and the nurse come together to treat this person, then this will trigger something happen. For example, if this person need have some blood test, then the nurse will order some lab test. Then they will send some order message from one system to another system through the network. Then a lab system receive this kind of information, then send back some acknowledgement back to the nurse place. So that means the exchange of the information, the message between any system must be triggered by a trigger event. So the trigger event is a very important concept in HL7 based system. Also, another thing is also there are several trigger events. We will define in the next several slides. So, in the trigger event, in fact, we just talk about is a real world event that necessitates exchange of information. For example, if we see here, this is the message. Okay, we need to send it to one person, to send about one patient from one system to another system. For example, the patient's name is Steve Bank, was born in January 4th, 1967. Then he was admitted on August 5th, 2000 at 12:30 p.m. to ward number 8B. So we need to send this information out. So how to construct this kind of message so that the SIMs related to this patient will be sent out. Okay, so it was because this person was admission. That's a trigger event. Okay, in fact, in the message we will put the trigger event code inside the message. Also, we have a message type. What this message about is here, showed ATD. That means admission and new patients. Okay. In fact, in this message also have some segments. For this kind of meaning, we will talk about later. Now we only care about the trigger event. Okay, this is the information how to embed this information in the message. So the statement is written from the assumption that an event in the real world of healthcare creates the need for data to flow among systems. The real event is called a trigger event. We have several examples here. The first example, we called a patient is admitted. This trigger event, they will cause the need for the data, especially for the data about the patient will be sent to a number of other systems. For example, in the lab test system, radiologist department, also the admission system, the different system will be receive this kind of messages. Another trigger event example is an observation for a patient is available. For example, for this will be cause the need for the observation result to be sent to a number of other systems. For example, to the doctor's system, or perhaps it can be sent to their personal medical record systems. So this kind of things, that's called a trigger event. In fact, different chapters in HL7 deal with different events. Also, we use different event code to represent the trigger events. For example, about the patient administration, with the trigger event will be use the character A, order entry will use character O, query will use Q, then financial management we will use the code P. Then for other chapters we have corresponding trigger event code to represent this kind of trigger events. As we just talk about, message is the core things in HL7. So the HL7 majorly deal with the message. A message is defined as an atomic unit of data transferred between systems. In HL7 message, we have two things important. One is the trigger event, which defines the reason for the exchange of the message, as we talked just now. Another thing is the message type. Message type in fact defines the domain of the HL7. For example, ATD message means it's admission, discharge, and transfer message. Another message, if about lab test, we have another message type. So, if the message is about admission, discharge, transfer, then also we have different trigger event. If the trigger event is admitted, then the trigger event code is A01. However, if the trigger is discharge of the patient, the trigger event code will be A03. If the trigger event is transfer of the patient, the trigger event will be A02. In fact, inside the message, the message type and trigger event code will be embedded into the message. For example, in this message, the message type code is here. It's called ADT. The trigger event code is A01. That means this new patient was admitted and triggered by the event admitted to the hospital. In this pieces of message, we have several segments here. This is one segment from MSH to CR. This is the second segment. Also, this is the third segment. This is the fourth segment. So, we know that a message is composed of a group of segments. In this segment, we have the message types and trigger event. For each message, we have 3 character code in the message to identify the type. As we just showed the example, a message are sent by events triggered. So the full name of the message is derived from the message type and the trigger event. So the message type is the general category into which a message fits. Different message types have different 3 characters to identify the type of the message. For example, for the general acknowledgement message, the value is ACK. For ATD message, it's ADT. For all the message, it's ORM. And for the observation result on solicited, it's ORU. Also for the trigger events, we just show for different trigger events. Also we have different events code. For one message type, generally we have many different trigger event codes. But for a triggered event code, may not be associated with more than one message type. For example, for the message ADT, we can have 4 trigger events code. For the admit visit notification, we can the code is A01. For transfer patient, the trigger event is A02. For discharge and visitor, it's A03. For register a patient, the trigger event is A04. So as we just talked now, the full message name is derived from the message type and the trigger event. In fact, we can get the message type with the trigger event to compose a full message name. For example, the message type is ATD, the trigger event is A01. Then we put the caret between them, then we get the full message name. Okay? This is the This is the character is the field component separator. Let's see the example here. So just now we all talk about the ATD is the message type. 801 is trick event. We put this one here, connect them with character, then we get the full name of the message. That means ATD had 801. So how to get this message? How to construct this message? That's depend on the graphics defined in HL7. For example, for the ADT admit notification, the gram is shown as follows. First, we is a segment called MSH. In fact, this is a message type head. The second is event, that's event type. The third segment is PID, that's patient identification. Also, we have some option segments, PD1, admission, demographics, lower, NK1, next of kin, associated parties, and so on. For this kind of means, we can put here. So, in these grammars, based on these grammars, we can construct this message. For example, this message include is the ADT and A0. First, we construct them. MSH, message head. Message head is required for any message. Okay? For other meaning, we will talk about more later. So, this grammar defined by the HL7, we called abstract message. Abstract message is the basic to construct or generate a new message. As we just now saw, the abstract message is a collection of segments and includes rules of repetition and inclusion for those segments. Okay? This is another abstract message definition. This is called UDM, unsolicited display message. So here, the MSH, the message head, is also required. Then we go to the result update definition here. This 3 is option. So the square bracket means option. The curly bracket means one or more things inside. In fact, for different event, we have different code. We just showed here. In fact, in HL7 specification, they have some table to define the event code. For example, if the trick events is transfer a patient, then the code is 802. This just show these two things show the message type. Okay, ATD message type. Then this also ADT message type. For ACK message type also have the same even code. Okay. For another message type, it's called RQI. Then also we have some even code from I01 to I06. Different zero code means different trigger events. Okay. So this is very important things. Also, for the message, we know we have specific 3 characters to identify the type of the message. These things also include in HL7 specifications. For example, for the gender acknowledgement, then the messed up code is ACK. For ADT message, the code is ADT. But for the ADT response, the code is ADR. For the diary old message, the messed up code is OMD. For the general clinic old message, the message type is OMG. In fact, this kind of things are described in different chapters. For example, for the ACK, ADR, ADT, they are described in chapter 3. For the OMD, OMR, OMG, OML, ORD, ORG, these things they are described in chapter 4. ORF is a query for result of observation that's described in chapter 7. For PRI, PIN, RQC, RQI, RQP, they are described in chapter 11. That means different chapter described different message type. For the now let's talk about the segments. As just now we talk about the message, we know a message composed of different segments. So for different segments, we have a key identification code to identify these segments. For example, message head, you can identify it by the 3 character code MSH. Event type, this message can be identified EVA. In fact, in HL7, we have a table to list the segments and the identification code. For example, for the MSA, that's message acknowledgement segment. For MSH, it's message head. For PID, it's patient identification. For the segment named patient additional demograph, it's PD1. For the patient visit, it's PV1. For patient energy information, there will be AL1. Also, we have other kind of segments. They are also described in different chapters in HL7. In fact, here, for each segments, we will find they are composed of different fields. That's what we talk about in the next slides.